Well, hello everyone. Just to make sure I'm still getting videos of tower beacons and stuff. Well, the Jackson Hill towers recently got an LED. Crap. I keep trying to bring down my notifications bar. Oh, there we go. I just want to make sure I'm recording because this can sometimes be. Uh, I'm still feeling kind of like crap. I'm coughing a lot. I just wanted to get a video close-ups of tower beacons and stuff. This one here is my favorite FH306. It's on a tower. It's on a tower. That's one of my favorites. It's owned by Crown Castle. In my area, Crown Castle used the 3000B and the 306. So it's basically the two main beacons they like to stick with for some reason. But some of them have been converted to LEDs. Crown Castle still has that 306, but if I find out they ever replace it, I like to have it. If it ever gets replaced by an LED. My throat is still a little sore from the coughing and stuff. So here's an old school incandescent on a long lines tower in New York. There's actually a taller long lines tower beside this that actually has an FH324. Well, it's on a rooftop in a small town actually, but it's old school incandescent's not working because of the taller tower beside it. So it's likely that this tower was built first, then several years later the taller one was built beside it. I was supposed to do this video a while back, but I screwed up on it, so I had to delete it. Now, in the distance from my grandma's house, there's a strobe and an LED that you can see flashing in the distance. It turns... Sorry about that. So it turns out that, the strobe is actually a 3000B, or it could be a 324. Now the LED, which is after this one, is actually an FTS 370, so I'll show you the picture of it after I get done showing you guys this one. But here's the close-up of it on Street View. Now, if I look at it in the distance when I tried to film in person, you can see the strobe on the left and the LED on the right. But anyways, this is that strobe and I wanted to get a close-up of it while I had this video. And then that LED I was talking about, here it is. The FTS 370 you can see from it. These are the two beacons I tried to film in the distance when I was at my grandma's house before. But it turns out they can't show up on camera because of how far they are. Now, I tracked these towers down, and apparently I've actually seen these in person back in 2015 or 2013. But it turns out I've seen these two towers in person before, up close. Now here's the FTS 370 on my local Western Union tower. This one was put up just last year actually, and I remember when it first got put up. So this one here replaced a modern incandescent on the tower. So apparently the tower used to have two sets of modern incandescents, but for some reason its lower modern incandescent has been removed a long time ago. I forget what year it was removed, maybe 2016 probably. But the tower still has its two sets of incandescent markers, which some there crap. After the tower had its lower set of modern incandescent removed back in 2016 or 2018, it turns out its top modern incandescent burned out, and its two incandescent sets of markers were still on. Now, shortly after that, the tower got an LED, and then a few weeks after that, it got flashing markers. Now, believe it or not, but the tower still has its original markers. It's just the thing is they use the flashing markers now. They don't use the older ones. So I don't know why they was left the older ones on the tower. Maybe they couldn't have time or money to afford to remove them. So maybe they don't know this beacon. It's the Akron FTS 370 at the crappy night mode. If you check out his channel, he actually filmed it at night mode. But yeah, so it was actually put up there after a red and white tower was taken down. I think he said the old tower had like a I think it was a night mode only LED with a 30 FPM night mode. I'll have to ask him again because I'll have to ask him about it because I forget what he said it was, but it was some kind of weird LED. But this is the FTS 370 on it. And here's an FH306 on a tower near me that's owned by Crown Castle. Another good old FH306. So I can see this one here from my grandma's house, like in the same area where you can see the two distant beacons I filmed earlier. And you can also see an FH324 flashing beside this one too. But that white but that's but that's the white cap you can see on it. Now, I have tried to get screenshots of this on Street View, but apparently you can't see it's 306, so this is the only close-up I have of it. Just the white cap on the top of it. Then here's that 324. It's not too far from where my dad works, and he just actually sees this tower all the time. But he said it still has its FH324 last time I checked, but it was built sometime around 2009 or 2010. But see, yeah, it's like not too far from where he works. And this is an FTS 370 that actually replaced an FH307 or 309. Now, the Enthusiasm Boy 21 found this monopole with an FH307 or 309 on Street View, and I tried talking to him about where the monopole was at because I figured it was pretty cool. And we started talking about if it was a 309 or not because it looks like it has a set of halogen markers. I kind of assumed it was a 309 at the moment. And then he said, well, you can't, it's too late now because it has an LED now. So I figured I might get another video of its FH309 soon. But right now I'm just doing the LED on it. But that's the close-up of the FTS 370. Now, if it used to have a 309 or some sort of rare red-only single strobe, I really hope that its night mode is not crappy. I mean, at least it's probably like a night mode only LED or something like that. But if it's a night mode only 370, I guarantee you it's a crappy night mode. Now, the monopole still appears to have its halogen markers. Either that or it converted to LED markers by now. So here's the 370 on the second Kroger Tower from last year. So the 370 on it now shows on Street View and on Google Maps, but that's pretty cool. But it also makes the tower look a lot more smaller, like as if it was reduced in height. I mean, you guys know what I mean, like the old school incandescent was a very tall beacon. But apparently the 370 is really small because of aerodynamics. So of course it's going to make it look like it was reduced in height. But that's what I hate about these pancake LEDs. They always make the tower look like they were reduced in height. So the Enthusiasm Boy 21 found a crappy night mode LED from a beach he was at. So I talked to him on Discord about where the tower was at because I wanted to see its LED up close and if it was a new tower or not. And I used the antenna search to find it, and it was like an old microwave tower. So I get on Street View, I could see its FTS 370, and because it has a 370 and that's the crappy night mode beacon, I assume this is the one he's seen in the distance. So this is it on Google Maps because of Street View. You can't see the beacon at the top. It's one of those new high quality Street Views, but you can't see its beacon from the top. But So I had to get a Google Maps view of it. Now there's sadly no video of its markers, so I can't tell if the tower is flashing markers. But there is a chance that the LED is like very new. Like it could have been installed at least like a few weeks ago, because in his video the LED looks very new. So either that or it could have been a different new cell tower in the area. But Antenna Search only had that one on it, and that's the only one with the 370. So this one here is a Dallas Landmark Tower. Now I tried to get a close-up picture of its modern incandescent with an LED retrofit, but I can't. This is the only best picture I have of the top of it. But I was always curious of what beacon this one had, but it turns out it actually has a modern incandescent with an LED retrofit. I mean, at least they're keeping the shell of the beacon, you know? I mean, that's what makes it cool, you know? But the sad thing is it's like old school incandescent light bulbs inside have probably been gone. But, you know, the good thing is at least the entire beacon wasn't replaced with a whole new LED beacon, you know? I will give them credit for that. And, I wish I had something like that because, in my TWR incandescent, there when I first got it back in the Christmas of 2020, my dad didn't want to pay high energy bills with incandescent 300 millimeters, so we actually had to convert it to LEDs. So he's really doing good with it on the electric bills, and it really made it better, so we don't have to pay as much. But that's basically the whole reason why tower owners are switching to LEDs. I mean, the FAA isn't forcing people to switch to LEDs. I mean, they're just recommending them for like people who want to have like high intensity beacons on tall towers and stuff, because they're basically more efficient than the 300 millimeters, although there are some downkeeps to it though, like you'll have to climb the towers and replace them every 5 to 10 years. Also that too, because I found out the LEDs have a lifespan of 5 to 10 years without any problems. Now if they have problems, there's a chance that they could be replaced with a whole new system. Because I talked to Sean about an LED, and he says there was a dial light near him installed in 2014, and like 2 years later, half of it was steady, and then part of it was flashing, so it had to be replaced. So, LED beacons can last up to 5 to 10 years, then he had to get a whole new system to replace them. So this tower here's in Kentucky. Aiden said it has an FH308. Now this is a Google Maps view that's crappy of it. I had to zoom in at the top on its FH308. It's a guide tower. And then there's this tower near it, he said had an FH306. I think this is the right tower, because there's another tower near this one that had a beacon, I think. But, I found them since they were my cool beacons, but he said the top one right there was an FH308 and the one in the lower picture was an FH306. But those are pretty cool, and I hope those will stay there for a while. Because if those were replaced by crappy LEDs, that would be the end of, like, the coolest beacons, you know? Now, Aiden knows these two towers as well, up in the Cleveland area. Now, the top one actually has a very, very bright night mode only, white only LED. Because I was going to Cleveland in 2020 to see a concert up in Cuyahoga Falls, and I also seen that unfinished concrete tower that was supposed to be a rotating restaurant, which I'll get to that here in a little bit. But when we was coming home late that night, I look in the distance, and I see two towers. Now, one of them had very bright white only LED, and the taller tower beside it had two sets of FTS 370s that were, well, the 370s on tall tower were okay. They weren't as bright. But the one on the top is the very, very bright one on the guide tower. So it's basically a tower duo. Now, I will go back in time on Street View to see what beacons these towers had before. But I think the one on the top could be a white-only ILS 3600. Because, you know, the ILS 3600, there are variations to it. Unlike the 370, you have to use separate systems to make it shine different colors. But but it's pretty cool how the LEDs work and color variations. But that was pretty cool to see how bright the LED was. Now here's an FH324 on a tower near the tallest Longlines tower. Now we was taking a ride one night to see a tallest Longlines tower, and I didn't have my camera with me at the moment, so I couldn't record it, unfortunately. But the tower near it that had this FH324 was in backup night mode, and I didn't expect to see it to go into backup night mode, because I was staring at the tower, just watching its beacon flash, expecting it to go into night mode, when all of a sudden it just stopped and turned off for a little bit. Then out of nowhere, it just went to backup night mode. Now, my grandparents did say its tower was hit by lightning before, and its beacon went to backup night mode. Now they did repair the strobes in it, so it actually is in night mode now. But anyways, the tower's in night mode, and it's no longer in backup night mode. So here's a tower near me that used to have an FH308, but now has a crappy FTS 370. Now the good thing is it has steady markers. But I think last year it got the FTS 370. It could have been because I think Aiden said on one of my videos of it, the owner was probably the one who did that because they didn't like how the FH308 shined white. But that was a terrible replacement, I could have because if I owned a tower, I would have kept its FH308. Well, I'd also give it the FH307 just for the fun of it. And then here are the two, I think it's called St. Joseph, Missouri. But there's a tower that used to have an FH324 and a new cell tower. These two towers have flashing markers, but the top one and its flashing markers picture is the tower at the FH324, and the lower picture is the new cell tower and its flashing markers. So, it took me kind of a while to locate the markers on the towers, but I think I'm screwing this video up again. I might have to remake a new one some other time, but here's the new LEDs and their flashing markers on the towers. So here's a tower with an FH324 in Missouri. I think it might be an abandoned cell tower because it used to have a platform on it, but now it's got like a different platform on it. So I'm guessing in between those times the tower was abandoned. But, it could have been abandoned because it probably got a new platform. Then here's a night mode only 370 on one of the Edmond water towers that replaced a TWR incandescent. Now I think Merson said all these water towers had TWR incandescents, except for one of them that has an FCB12. Now I wonder if this one got an LED, I wonder if the other ones will have their incandescents replaced. Because there's most likely a chance that'll happen if this one got an LED. I mean, this water tower's a tall one and it stands beside a smaller one, but it sucks how its modern incandescent was replaced and there's not that many. Well, I mean, it is getting that way now because this LED takeover. But all of us tower enthusiasts now are just hating how this FTS 370 appears on every tower everywhere, I'm just tired of it too because of how one of the Jackson Hill towers got an LED. And speaking of the Jackson Hill tower that got an LED, here's its 3000B on the old picture of it from Street View. Some of this tower here is owned by the state of Ohio, and it turns out it's a 911 communication tower. But the state of Ohio is switching all their towers to LEDs now, because Aiden said all the ones in his area were converted to LEDs. And that was actually there before the Jackson Hill tower got an LED, so I was like, you know what, I might have to prepare for this, because if all the state-owned towers in Aiden's area are getting LEDs and are owned by the same company that owns this tower, it's probably going to get an LED soon too. And then we was taking a car ride to my local city, and out of nowhere I seen an LED flash on it. I'm like, wait, what? Did it actually get an LED? And then we drove right by and the tower looks really small. I mean, again, the Atos 370 is flat and it makes it look like the tower was reduced in height. And the tower just looks like a whole different tower with its LED flash. And its and its night mode is very crappy too. And here's the red and white Jackson Hill Towers FH324. I'm pretty sure this is flash technology because it had the 324 since 2005. Now there's also a chance it could have had an FH306 too. And it probably could have at a modern incandescent because the tower was built in 1991. And then as for a small Jackson Hill tower, it was built in 2004. Then here's the first Kruger tower and it's 3000B. I tried to get a good close-up of it, but its 3000B looks so small for some reason. Every time I try to always record the 3000B on the Kruger tower, it always looks so small. Unlike that one on the Jackson Hill tower, it looks tall when compared to size. Then here's the broken 3000B on my favorite Walmart tower. This one here has been having a lot of issues lately. From being damaged by the UV radiation and like the ground scatter plastic things chipping away. And the tower's 3000B is also starting to be stuck on day mode now. And sometimes it also gets stuck on night mode. Which, it's night... its night mode is also a 30 FPM flash. Something around that. Now that when the tower had its strobes replaced inside the 3000B, I think it has LED markers because at once I was driving on the bus going to school and I took pictures of the tower. Its markers were actually a lot more bright. So it probably has LED markers now. But yeah, so it might get an LED soon because of Crown Castle and their broken 3000Bs on their towers. I mean, they don't really take care of their sites like SBA does, because Crown Castle and American Tower kind of treat their facilities in a bad way. Then here's an aerial photo on Google Maps of the Walmart Tower in Rolla, Missouri, the Big LT's favorite Walmart tower. I try to get a picture of its LED on Street View, but I have to use the Maps aerial view just to see where it's at, and I still can't figure out where it's at on there. But I think he said that Eric told him it was an Orga LED when it used to have its FH309 and it got replaced. But it also could be dial light, because Aiden said something on Discord that it could be dial light. So we know that it could be Orga or dial light, but it's some kind of weird LED. But for now, I'm just probably going to say it's just an LED. I don't know the brand of. Then here's the wall water tower, and it's FG2000, and it's like 300mm. I think Aiden said it was a Ron incandescent. It was supposed to be a beacon replacement that people have forgotten about. But they wouldn't have forgotten about it because every once a year they have to replace the bulbs inside the incandescent, which is still working. But some say that small white only beacon was an FH308. But if I look at it here, it's a little too small to be an FH308. And Big LT had a close-up picture of it a long time ago from back when he first discovered it. This was on an old tower server. But he had a close-up picture of it, and to me it looked like an FG2000. Probably from H&P, or it could be EG&G from that old company. But it only works at night, I think. I don't know, I'll have to ask him. Then here's an FG2000 on a long lines tower that the BLT used to film a lot of times. So the tower, I think it used to have an FH308, because on older Street Views its beacon was much taller. Then here's an FH307 or 309 on a tower that I almost got to see before, but I forgot about it. So hopefully this tower will still have it by the time I see it in person one day, because I'd like to film it in night mode. And it also has markers too, so yeah, it's it could be a 308 or a 309. I don't know, but For now, I'll just say it's like a 307. Then here's a mysterious 300mm that Ryan C. had filmed on like a small tower. He took pictures of it. Now, we are all still trying to figure out what kind of 300mm it is. I was thinking it could have been an FCB-12 or it could have been an STL. But, I think it's an STL, but if you look at the weird latch on it, I don't think that's ever made by Beacon Company, but the top of it too. And if it had those screw bolts on it, it'd be missing a cap. My voice is kind of weird because I'm still getting a sore throat and stuff, so I don't know, my voice is kind of getting a high-pitched sound. Then, here's an FH308 on a tower near me. Now, I could have sworn this tower used to have, shine red at night, but for some reason it got an FH308, so I don't know. I'll have to go back in time on stream and see if that was an FH306 or not. And then here's a night mode only LED on a microwave tower that I hadn't seen before. So the tower's night mode only LED is flat. Now, it's possibilities it could have been an Orga or it could have been flash technology. I'll have to ask him what the night mode was if he's seen it in night mode. I wonder if he guessed if it was a night mode only LED because of how it didn't flash a day or whatever. And then here's an old FH310 on an AT&T Longlines tower, 308 or 310. I think 310 is for the system it hooks up to, but 308 is, I think, the name of the flash head itself. So, I talked to Sean about one of the Longlines towers. He said there's another one near it, and it had an FH308 or 310 since like the early 90s. But, hopefully this one here will last a long time because, it's an old beacon. Now, I was talking to him about one of the Longlines towers and how it had an FH308, but it was converted to Dotlight in 2019, but that was a different Longlines tower. This one here still has it as I know of, and it had it since the early 90s is what Sean told me, so, and then here's an FH324. It's a small tower I filmed in like my Cincinnati series. Crap, screen's getting dark because I got to charge my tablet here. Then there's an FH324 on the red and white monopole. I'm going to have to make the rest of this video quick. And then there's a mysterious strobe on a Longlines tower I filmed in my Cincinnati series. Then this one here has box strobes that are white only. I'll have to ask Aiden what these two candelabras have, but they have white only beacons in this one too. Now I think they're out of flash rates, like messed up on this red and white tower. Then here's a candelabra in Nashville. It's got white only box strobes with an FH308 on top. And then there's like an FH306 on a tower. Wait, I forget what beacon that was. Wait, I think that one is an FH. I forgot which tower that was. Crap. How could I forget which tower that was? This tower. Wait, that's an FH306. I just remembered which tower that was now. Then here's a tower with an FG2000 that's very low intensity at night. And, here's an FH306 I seen when I went to Cleveland. I also filmed in my Cleveland series, but haven't uploaded it yet. Now, this FH306 here has burned out markers, and it also has like a broken filter issue, because at night, it does a night mode flash, but it's white, and I looked at the tower on street and it appears to have markers, so that's an FH306. And there's the FG2000 on the Mutual Tower, the existing one. And there's a tower near my cousin's house with a 3000B. And there's 3000B is on a 911 tower, so this one here will most likely get LEDs later. I don't know. Hopefully not, but I filmed a video of it. Then here's a tower in Birmingham that has box strobes and modern incandescents, but at night time it actually has an FH308 on top. So I've seen a video of someone driving through downtown Birmingham and that tower was in it. So this tower here I filmed in my Cleveland series and has an FH306. Then here's a modern incandescent and an FH324. So these are some of the rest of the beacons I tried to film, but I still have a sore throat, so I might just have to end this video soon, because I sound kind of bad. I don't know if I got the flu or if it's just this weather or not, but it's here's the other beacons and stuff, but here's what I'm gonna have to end the video, because these are just some other tower beacons I wanted to film before I have to go. But this one here has a white only HP Horizon LED. It's a DC series. Now this tower here's a Western Union tower, and I think the BLT set has a dead FG2000 on it, but it has 324s. There's an and DC Horizon LED from H&P. Now this tower here has an FH306 actually, but it could be in backup night mode. The Big LT filmed it several times, but it has markers, and I think it could be an FH306 with a broken filter or a backup night mode. There's an FG2000 and modern incandescents. A lot of these towers have modern incandescents, and here's the last of the towers. But so yeah, there's the